Been extremely busy. Probably tell with the lack of videos. But I wanted to just cover something really quick. I wanted to show you just how dumb and smart computers are. Because this is probably the root of oh God, I bet you well over half of the issues that I see, like within the Discord and stuff like that, right? So I built this little scene. Now what's in the scene really doesn't matter, but I'll show you what it does. If I click, I make a little explosion. Pretty that is, right? And if I click near this box, it explodes and the box goes flying. Pretty simple. Cool. So you might ask, well, it's alright. It's just so damn fun. You might ask, okay, well, what the hell has this got to do with anything? Who the hell's making a game where you're exploding and a box is moving? Right? And the point is, if I click the mouse, I'm telling the logic to explode and cause a force. Period. And how this translates, and this actually goes whether you're coding with Playmaker or you're using just regular C, if you're in Unreal coding, it really doesn't matter. This logic, this concept is a critical just for development, for coding in general, right? And it seems super simple, and it might seem obvious, but it's not. It really isn't. It catches everybody, right? Like, okay, what if, and I'll show you. So, okay, here's the code I made. It's very simple for the explosion. Is we're just looking for a mouse button down, and we're gonna mouse pick, and we create our explosion, and we add a force, and we play a sound. And that does exactly what I want it to do. And this is where computers are really smart. They do what you tell them to do. Now, humans obviously don't think in the same way, right? Because a lot of things we believe are automatic. If you open a door, then you've opened the door. The door is open, it is not closed. In the world of a computer, it's almost like if the door is opened, you also have to tell them that the door is not closed, sort of. And that's really important. Okay, so what if we make a button, and I got a little bit of a canvas here, and let's say I've got a pause menu. Right now, in this pause menu, and I'm just going to put the logic on the root, and I'll show you something real quick. Is let's do a button array, because this is how I like to do my UI stuff. And we know we have a pause button. Oh, sorry. We have a continue button and a quit button, and we only have two buttons. So let's say continue, and we'll say quit. Right now, if we quit, we can literally just call an application quit. You mean you'd probably do a save or whatever the case is. If we're going to continue, what really is that going to mean? Well, the odds are if we're making a pause, we're scaling time. So let's scale time to 1, and then let's just deactivate this pause menu. Pretty simple, right? And obviously now we need a way to do the opposite of that, right? So let's go into here, and let's also get key down, and we can use, oh, we'll use P for pause. Oh my Lord, there we go. right? So, and obviously we're literally going to just, actually let's just copy that whole state, right? And this one needs to finish and go back, and this one would obviously, it would do the opposite. It's going to go to 0 and it's going to turn this on, right? So with that, we have a simplistic pause. Now it's got issues, right? Because if I hit pause, there we go. It's pause. You can see the particle is stopped. Hit pause again, nothing happens. I hit continue, it goes. Right? And as you can see, it pauses everything. I hit continue. Now, we have various things here that are happening. Right? If I hit pause and I say click here, well, what the hell? That's not right, is it? I hit continue, like, holy crap. Game-breaking bug. Right? And that's where we have told the logic, if I get that button, we need to do this logic, even if time is at 0. So, and this is really what it comes down to, is over in here, and you could also add layers in here. I don't know if it's necessarily needed, but possible. So let's go to this logic and let's add something. Let's add another FSM. Let's call it conditions. And let's make an event. We'll just call it check. And we're just going to add it in just like that. Put it in as a global transition. So we're coming in. Now let's have a bool. And it's going to be is checked. Sure. Let's put it out here so I can see it. So what we're going to do is we are going to set bool value is checked to let's default it to true. Okay. Now, essentially, what we want to happen is if we click this button, I am hitting the wrong freaking button. Let's send an event to ourselves under the conditions to check. Then we can pretty much immediately right after, if we wanted to, we can run a bool test. I'll run an FSM bool test, which is on the ecosystem if you don't have FSM bool test. If not, I mean, you could always get the bool and then test it, but so it is true. So now we can get even sneakier with this. Let's say skip. Right? Actually, let's move this down right over here and move it way up to the top. We make sure this happens before any of this. Right? So we're going to add a skip, and the skip's just going to come back up here. Alright, so right now technically nothing should change, right? Because it should be true, because we're telling it every time it sends an event and it checks. Right now it's true, right? Nothing has changed. Perfect. So when would we want to change that? Right now that we have this system, well, what if we say what if this thing is active? Let's do should we do the event? Yeah, okay. Pause active. So if pause is active, then let's set this bool to false. Just like that. Now, because the way logic works, we sent the event and it actually is going to run that condition and then continue on with its little journey, right? So as you see, everything's fine. And if I hit P, notice how I'm clicking, nothing is happening, right? There is absolutely, you can even see it, we can watch it in here, because it's going here. You can see it in this guy. He's coming in, and this part's not actually even firing. Like if you watch the raycast point, it's not changing. And if I come out of pause, oh, I have to continue, then it's working again, right? So we've successfully put in a condition to stop that system. And this is really, really important. It seems simple, and I mean it is, but at the same time, it's super common. It's something that everyone tends to forget. So for example, we could add some more conditions, right? Let's do, what else could we do? If the pointer is over UI, and you know, we could make another, I guess we could just reuse this, doesn't really matter. And now we can see, just by adding that one little action there and just piggybacking off that same event, everything works. If I go over this, notice how we're not causing any more explosions, right? Because we've put that condition in, right? So now if I hit pause, I can't cause explosions, or if I'm over this, I can't cause explosions. Same with this thing, because this is a UI element, but I can cause it if I'm not clicking. So these condition checks are super, super important. That is the difference between some game-breaking bugs, and it's the same concept of what if we had ammo, which is why I got the ammo here, right? And we could have another FSM. Just make lots of little FSMs, right? That's better. Don't make one big FSM. That's bad, right? So let's say, let's just do two. We're going to have we'll use the fire event, and we'll say a give event. And you know what? Let's just keep them like, no, we will have to make that. All right. So we would obviously have a integer called, we'll call it ammo. And if we hit the give, what are we going to do? We're going to int add ammo. We're going to add 1. Now we want to put another condition in, conditions for everything, of a clamp. We're going to clamp ammo after we've added to it to a max of 3. Then we're going to build a string. Actually, you know what? Let's put that. Let's do the building down here so that they can both use it. Reusing code is tight, right? So we're going to build a string, and the first thing we want is ammo slash, I guess we could just do /3 like that. We actually don't need 3, we just need 2. And let's call this our ammo text. And then of course we're going to want to set the text to the ammo text, right? Now if we fire, I guess we can do this same logic, only we'll do the subtract, or in our case, just to make it simple, I'm just going to do add a -1. Same thing as subtracting, essentially, right? So there we have it. Now now we have ammo, which I forgot to link up the button, but hey, that's fine. We'll just come out of there and do whatever. So let's add it in here, because this is my UI stuff. Let's say give ammo, and if we get the give ammo, what are we going to do? We are going to send an event to I think it was on this thing. Yeah, it was on that guy, to give, and then go back and wait for the other button commands. Alright, so now we have a system where if I click, the ammo goes down, but it caps at 0. And if we hit a button, we go up by 1. Right? And of course we totally forgot, and by we I mean me, is on this. So if we skip it, we don't want to call it, but if we don't skip it, then we can send an event and we'll go to, I think we're on ourselves, to ammo to fire. There we go. Now it'll go up and down, right? Go up, down, up, down. Perfect. So what happens if we want to add a condition? Well, very easily, let's just do FSM int. Let's do a get FSM int, because I don't have the FSM int compare. Again, that's something you could totally get though. Let's get the ammo, and we'll just store it as ammo, and then int compare. And if ammo, oh, that's got to be below the get, right? We want to do things in order. We want to get the int, then test the int. So if ammo is 0, if it's equal, we'll piggyback off the same thing. Or if it's less, I mean, I guess that would be there too, but we shouldn't get less, we're clamped, right? So now we have can't explode, give ammo, explode, can't explode. We get 3 bombs, right? And we have those conditions. And if I click over here, nothing happens. Click over here, nothing happens. But when I click over here, it happens. Right? Now, I can still click on this though. So we have an issue with that. And as you can see, I mean, you can just keep building up little conditions, right? Animators work the same way, right? Like when you look at an animator and you see these, they have their conditions, right? They're built that way for a reason, right? Logic is the same way, and they said this regardless whether you're doing this in C or Playmaker or Unreal or Godot, whatever. It's that same concept. You gotta think of conditions for everything, right? Now where I've seen this really screw people up is when you start looking at things like this. And this might hopefully give you guys an aha moment, hopefully. is I've got a character controller. Now if I put an FSM on this guy, right, what if I say get axes, and we'll go relative to the camera, we'll store the vector, and then we can just do a simple move. To that vector at a speed of, we'll say 5, right? Now, this is really important, really critical. If I hit, you see I'm driving around, life is fine. This is totally normal, right? Other than the explosions, this is totally normal. Right now, obviously, I can't explode him because he's not part of the physics system. He's part of the controller system. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, well, how is this? Where's the conditions on this, right? But that's the thing, though. This is what screws people up. The logic here is stating, get this vector, move him. There is no room for anything else. Right? It's not going to happen. What about knockbacks? What about, stopping them if the UI is open or something? I don't know. This doesn't allow that. This is very simplistic. Get a vector, move the character. That's what you're telling the logic. And this is where things, you might have to alter that and split that up, right? Because what if you have an actual movement versus an input, and in the movement you can just get FSM vector. We'll say from the inputs, we'll get the vector, and this is the movement, and then simple move. And you might think, well, okay, well, this seems like a roundabout way to do this. And this one, yeah, well, this one's a little different, right? But I mean, functionality-wise, just by doing that, it really does offer us a lot more flexibility. It may not seem like it. Everything still feels exactly the same. But what if, we get that, say we get another one. Let's call this running, right? And we can say get key down. And there's numerous ways to do this. I've done a lot of. Actually, you know what? Let's just do get key. Let's say we're going to get the left control. Left bracket. Left control, and there's the left control. And then let's bool convert to float, and we'll say left control float variable is speed, so false is say 0, true, I don't know, we'll go 3. And we could just use that as a multiplier. The other thing we could do is vector 3 multiply. It's kind of an odd way of doing things, I think, but whatever. So we would need a movement multiplied by the speed. So we would need a movement. So let's do, you know what, let's just bring in and get axis vector. You know what, let's just get FSM vector 3. Let's do it this way. From the input, let's pull in that vector into the movement. Right? So this little guy right here, what does he do? As you can see, he has his own little vector happening. How is this important? Well, what if we duplicate this? And let's, instead of pulling it off of there, let's get that movement. Mod, and now we can do vector 3 add. Should we do an operator or add? You know what? Let's just do adds. So let's make a new vector. Let's stick one of these. So we're gonna say use this vector. We're gonna add movement. Copy and paste before, and we're going to say use this vector. We're going to add running mod, right? So this could also would mean we could do set vector 3 value at the very top, use this vector to 0. So now it's starting to look a little more complex, a little bigger. And you're probably wondering, what the hell? I get that. And it's okay. There we have, like, everything looks and feels totally normal. And if I hold down control, oh, what is happening? Oh, right, because we're using a speed of 4. Duh. Oh, let's get rid of that. Let's just do a move. Controller move. Now, granted, I could just keep it as a float in that running one and pull it over and use that as the speed. You know, fair enough. But I'm just going to do it this way. Personally, I prefer the controller move over the simple move anyways. Granted, you have to do your own gravity, but that, you know, a few more layers of knowledge or stuff in there, but it works, right? So we're moving at a speed of, 1, and if I hold down our running, as you can see, it is now working. So, okay, granted, this is a little rudimentary. Fair enough. I get that. Totally get that. But the idea, though, the concept of what this is we aren't using the, get input and just move our guy, right? Because that has no room for nothing, right? And that's usually what causes issues. People will start building a controller, start building something, and then it's like, how do I add this? Or how do I bring this in, or jumping, or whatever the case is. And this is where this concept is really what it's about. And it's the same concept whether I'm exploding things and I don't want to explode things if the pause button's open, or if I'm over the UI, or I've run out of ammo, or I'm moving the character, and I'm you kind of have these conditions. Now, granted, these ones aren't conditions. You would have conditions probably as well, because you'd have things like is grounded and stuff like that, right? And you could bring in other modifiers, and you could layer this thing out as far and as fast as you possibly want, right? You could have bonus speeds in here. You maybe hit turbo speeds. You could have a whole FSM dedicated to just if you happen to step on a certain type of object, your speed triples, I don't know, something like that, right? And it would literally just build an FSM or build a vector and stuff it back into this guy kind of idea. So you have this layering system, right? So you have all these layers of variables and conditions, and that's how you control and build your things. And this is why you could end up with piles of FSMs. And really, if you wanted to, you could make an empty here and put FSMs here. You could label this thing, you know, movement FSMs, and just put a whole bunch of here, and then it feeds into you know, your actual FSM here. Whatever the case is, you can kind of structure it any which way you want. Point is, though, you need to build things in layers if you want any kind of complexity, and all those conditions and stuff. That's how it works, right? Logic is super smart. It will do exactly what you tell it to do. But logic is dumb because it's only going to do exactly what you tell it to do, right? That is it. There's no if, ands, or buts about it, right? So hopefully that for some people is a little bit of a, like a whole, oh yeah, you know what, that makes sense. I have, you know, X issue, and maybe I need to look at it in this style of structure where I need to just hack this up a bit and make, you know, a couple different layers to this, and you work with the result of the layers, right? But anyways, catch you guys later.